Так, so my first video, and today I'm gonna play the game myself. And that would be logical to start our podcast with the game that I'm playing myself. It wouldn't be interesting because I played it dozens of times, but probably now, because it's gonna be the first episode of the podcast, it should be interesting for myself and for you guys as well. And it will be a bit flattering for me that episode number 1 is with myself. Again, I hope there will be hundreds of episodes, and I hope they will be fun and engaging and exciting for you guys. But let's see how it goes. So it's a project management game, and we basically we're gonna take over a failing project and we're gonna turn it around. That's the idea. Let's see whether I'm gonna be able to do that or not. Let's see how it goes. So, first things first, let's start the game. And of course, I have to define the project. And what I want about this project is I want to have some sort of domain that I did not manage yet, because at least this will be fun, right? So domain is going to be London insurance market, because they have very high payments, and I wanted to get in, but it's a club, so you can't start managing projects in London insurance market if you don't have experience managing project in London insurance market, which is kind of funny, but that's the case, right? And of course, country UK. That's where I'm at. I am in London right now. What else? Scale of the project is gonna be large. And power of project manager is gonna be limited. Okay, okay. Let's see if I'm gonna be able to do that. So we start the game. That's our basics for the game. And let's see what we get out of this game. Of course, first things first, we have a meeting with our PMO director, who's going to be my line manager in this case. And he's going to kind of get us up to speed with what happens with the project. And let's see how it goes. All right. I'm going to read everything so that whoever you guys, if you don't have any video, you will be able to follow. So project manager says, sorry, not project manager, of course, PMO director. All right, listen up. We have a situation that needs your expertise. Our company, a major player in the London insurance market, is rolling out a large-scale digital transformation project. The goal? To modernize our underwriting and claims systems across multiple lines of business, integrating AI-driven risk assessment, which is kind of cute, and automated claims processing. Sounds fancy, right? Yeah, it does. Well, it would be if it weren't an absolute mess right now. Yeah, okay, I'm kind of used to that, so that's fine, no worries about that. The project has been running for a year, and to put it bluntly, it's spiraling out of control. Okay, yeah, so if it's spiraling out of control, okay. Timelines have slipped, costs have ballooned, and the brokers hate the new system because, according to them, it's as user-friendly as a medieval torture device. Wow, okay. The board is losing patience, and leadership is split between scrapping the whole thing or throwing more money at it. You've got 6 months to turn this around. Okay, yeah, that's like, yeah, okay, let's try. Oh, and one more thing. Your power as project manager is, let's just say, limited. You are walking into a political minefield. Senior stakeholders are protective of their turf. And the IT team is openly skeptical of anyone who's isn't one of them. You'll need to navigate this carefully. But hey, if anyone can pull off a miracle, it's you, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, who else? Who else can do that? Okay, let's see how it goes. So, what do you need from me before you dive in? Actually, I don't think I need anything from PMO director. I kind of know that I'm gonna have an onboarding with someone from the project team. So let's just go ahead with onboarding. Yeah, I just wrote this down. So we'll just go ahead with onboarding. No need for PMO director to uh, give any more information, which probably maybe he even doesn't have. Okay, so I've met someone from the team, and I've met with Emma Carter. Okay, the program manager, who's been overseeing this digital transformation. She looks stressed but relieved to have someone stepping in. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Okay, so Emma says, thanks for stepping in. Look, I'll be straight with you. This project is in serious trouble. We were supposed to roll out phase one 3 months ago, but it's nowhere near ready. The tech team keeps telling me they're almost there, but then another issue pops up. Oh, yeah, it's so yeah, that's every day on my agile projects, basically. The underwriting teams are frustrated, and brokers are actively resisting the new system. Some have even threatened to stick with manual processes just to avoid using it. Meanwhile, leadership keeps demanding results. Yeah, that's like change management project. Sorry, change-driven project. But they also keep changing their priorities whenever someone new comes in. Okay. The project team itself is dysfunctional. Wow. Okay. The IT and business teams don't talk to each other, and when they do, it's most finger pointing. Yeah, that's like, okay. We also have a problem with a particular team lead in IT, Mark Reynolds. Brilliant guy, but he's got zero patience for anyone who doesn't speak tech. He's alienated stakeholders, and I suspect some of his team members are disengaged because of it. Wow, so we have a toxic guy here on the team. Brilliant, but zero patience. Okay. On top of all of that, our budget is bleeding. The last CFO review flagged some unplanned expenses. Okay. And procurement is a nightmare. Contracts for third-party vendors weren't negotiated properly, and now we're. Wow. It's like everything that should have gone right have gone wrong. And now we've looked into deals that aren't working for us. Honestly, I need someone who can bring some structure, build bridges between teams, and get these things moving. What's your first move? All right, all right, all right. All right. So we have 6 months now to turn this around. And each month is going to be one list of actions for the month that we're going to do. So before I decide my actions for the first month, there is additional info I need. So before deciding anything right now, I need some information. And of course, the biggest problem here that I see is it's about change management more than the project management. So if we're talking about digital transformation, we need to make sure, first of all, that people are ready to change. If people in the company are not ready to change, then the project will not be successful, for sure. So first things first, I need to assess readiness for this change. And to do that, I need to make sure that I need to speak to key stakeholders and assess their readiness for change. I need to make sure that all departments, including brokers, underwriters, and others, are Don't see any blockers for change. This change to happen. So this is the first section I'm going to take, because, as I said, if some of them see blockers, they will be disengaged, they won't participate, they won't contribute, and the change will fail to stick. They will just go back to whatever they had right now, and the change will not be effective. So I need them on board. And to make sure that they are on board, business is on board with this change, I need to assess it. Also, I need to speak with the team and see if they see any blockers, issues for this project that can derail this project from their side. So I also need to speak with the project team, particularly IT team, the IT team, to see if they see any blockers or issues from their side. That's first thing I need to do. When I get all this information, and hopefully there will be no blockers that are not like solvable. Because if there are any blockers that we can't solve, it means that we need to close the project straight away, because it won't be successful. But hopefully there is no such thing. Then the next issue that I see right now is changing priorities. Whenever someone new chimes in doesn't mean comes in, but yeah, again, it's written chimes in, so yeah, I won't argue with ChatGPT because there is no point in that. So, changing priorities. For me, it means that probably the governance of the project should change. Because if we are talking about phases, and the phase one was supposed to get rolled out 3 months ago, but it didn't happen. So if we're talking about phases and then changing priorities, most probably the issue is we are planning for too long. The time span for planning is incorrect. Most probably we need to do this in much more agile way than we're doing it now. Because if, for example, we planned the first phase to get rolled out in 3 months, let's say, right? And then in month number 2, we have changes to original scope. And then when the IT team changes something, a month later, we have another change, and then another change, and then another change. And they can't even like complete anything. So probably more like predictive approach that they have right now is not the right way to do it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I need to resolve issue with constant changes, and for that I need more information on why scope changes so often, and if the changes to scope are valid, need to revise governance framework and switch over to predictive or agile approach. Yeah, it's kind of difficult for me because if I'm writing and hosting it and I'm playing as well, it's kind of difficult for me to do both. But still, I think I will be able to do this. Not predictive, sorry, to lean or agile approach. So basically what I'm saying is I'm gonna review why the scope changes. And if the change is because some senior stakeholders daughter thinks we need to change that or whatever, dog, I don't know, anyone thinks we need to change, but there is no valid reason for the change. And let's say we have some sort of product guy, product owner, or someone who's capable of assessing these changes and saying whether we need to stick with the change and do it. And there is valid reason from product perspective for this change, then okay, then let's change the approach. If the changes are not relevant, let's say the changes are not critical for the project, then maybe I need some sort of change management approach in place involving, let's say maybe we can have some sort of like steering committee or change control board, CCB or steerco, right? So some sort of committee that would tell me whether we need to implement this change or not. And for example, if in our case, 90% of changes can be just like declined by this committee, right? Then maybe I don't need to change anything. I can stick with waterfall or primitive approach because if it's possible, then it's more efficient than agile. So let's see how it goes. Okay, then um, I need this information. I just need info on reasons for scope changes and possibility of changes of governance framework of the project. Okay, so we gather this information as well. Now, the next thing is the team is dysfunctional. Okay, that's a problem, of course. And I think that the main reason the team is dysfunctional is team lead in IT, Mark Reynolds, who is a brilliant guy, but he has zero patience for anyone who doesn't speak tech, which is a problem. And it's a problem with communication skills that he probably does not possess, unfortunately. So I need to talk to Mark. Um, the next piece of information I need is from talking to Mark Reynolds and um, and maybe like assessing his ability to change his communication style. And to be honest, I'm not too like optimistic with that, to be honest, because in my experience, if there is a guy who is uh, hugely productive and brilliant, but he is very toxic for the team, most probably like just try and convince him to communicate like better or more polite in more polite way. It's not gonna happen. Okay, so I will assess that. And on top of that, our budget is bleeding. The last CFO review flagged some unplanned expenses, and procurement is a nightmare. Contracts for third-party vendors weren't negotiated properly, and now we're locked into deals that aren't working for us. Okay, so now the next piece of information I need is um, full review of project expenses and I need to figure out why we had these unplanned expenses and what they are for. That's the first thing. And second, and also I need to speak with, we have procurement department, right? With procurement and ask them to review contracts with vendors and maybe collaborate with legal team to see if they can get us out of some of these, or maybe renegotiate terms if deals are not great for us. So I need procurement department to work with legal closely and see maybe some of the contracts can be just like closed and we can do another like round of tenders or whatever we use to procure things. And if we can do that without any like claims from these vendors or suppliers, that's fine. Let's just change and let's do this like procurement again. If it's not possible, then we need to review what kind of claims and damages we're talking. So also please review claims or other expenses we will suffer from if we need to renegotiate with some other suppliers. Okay, so we need to do that as well, because maybe it's better for us to just renegotiate with suppliers instead of suffering, like paying extra and yeah, not getting what we want, getting suboptimal products or counterfeit or whatever. Okay, so I just need info for now. I don't do any actions yet, and maybe I can do this in a few days. I'm very polite with ChatGPT. I am asking whether we can do this without winding time, because I want this just to be an investigation first. Okay, and let's see how it goes. You take a few days to meet with key stakeholders, assess their readiness for change, investigate the reasons behind constant scope changes, evaluate project expenses, and analyze procurement issues. And here's what you find. So first of all, stakeholder readiness for change. Okay. Underwriters, highly skeptical. They argue that the system doesn't reflect the complexity of their risk assessment process. Okay, they're frustrated that IT is not consulting them enough. Okay, so basically IT team doesn't talk with underwriters enough. Fair, okay, we'll fix that. Brokers actively resisting. The new system slows them down and they claim it doesn't integrate well with existing broker platforms. Some have threatened to stop using it entirely. Okay, yeah. So basically, they have an additional overhead. They have more work to do now instead of less work to do. Okay, that's a problem. We'll fix that as well. Operations and claims mixed. Claims teams are somewhat open to the system, but they are concerned about automation potentially rejecting valid claims. Aha! So they think that maybe some of the claims will be rejected and they are potentially valid, which means people will sue us maybe or something, or maybe we will suffer damages to our reputation, which is not good at all. And yeah, so we need to work with them and maybe explain how we will do that and how we make sure that we don't reject valid claims. That's fine. We can fix that as well. IT team, technically ready but frustrated. They claim they've been handed garbage requirements, and okay, and feel that business keeps shifting priorities. They also complain about excessive bureaucracy, slowing down their work. Executive leadership impatient. They want results yesterday. However, they can't agree on what the most critical features are. Okay. Um, yeah, that's like completely valid and logical, and many projects are just like that. Key blocker. There is a deep disconnect between IT and business users. Yeah, I completely agree. This is the key blocker. They're delivering what was asked, while business users feel unheard. Brokers and underwriters are the most resistant to change. Scope change investigation governance model review. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. The project scope keeps changing because senior leadership keeps reacting to market conditions and new regulatory concerns. Every time a new competitor rolls out a feature, leadership wants to match it. That's crazy. We won't be able to just keep up with that. No, we should not be doing that. We need some sort of portfolio management in place. We need strategy, and we need to follow the strategy. We can't just jump on any feature that any other like competitor rolls out. That's we will fail. So yeah, we need to change the strategy and how we approach strategy for sure. Business teams keep requesting last-minute changes because they were never fully consulted during early design phases. Again, the same problem: disconnect between IT team and business teams. There is no strong governance framework for changes. Any senior leader can request a change and it gets added to the backlog without formal evaluation. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem I mentioned, that if because anyone wants to add something, it just gets added to the backlog because this is a senior person. We should not be doing that. We should have project sponsor in place. We should have CCB, change control board, whatever, maybe product owner if we're talking agile, but we need some sort of change management where we avoid scope creep. We can't allow this scope creep. Right now, the project follows hybrid waterfall / agile model. Ideal wants fully agile, but the business is too used to traditional phased rollouts. Okay. Possible solutions. I don't need possible solutions. Thank you. That's the problem with ChatGPT. It is designed to please, unfortunately. So I don't want it to help me with possible solutions. I want me myself to provide solutions instead of ChatGPT. Leadership is causing instability by adding changes without structure. IT is stuck reacting rather than planning. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we will fix all that. Yeah, we'll fix all that in the first month, basically. But yeah, of course it takes time, but maybe in our game it allows us to do this immediately. Let's see how it goes. Okay, meeting with Mark Reynolds, which is a bit toxic person. Let's see how it goes. Mark is technically brilliant, but has zero patience for non-technical stakeholders. Yeah, we've heard that. He views underwriters and brokers as outdated and is tired of reworking features to feed their feedback. Come on, they pay your salary, basically. You are doing work for them, right? So yeah, it's a very incorrect approach. And basically, what this person is saying is that these guys are not professionals, and he doesn't treat them as professionals and equals. And this is an attitude change. So basically, this person most probably is violating very core values of the company and doesn't follow them. And he's not a good fit for the team because of that. So I would argue that we need to get rid of this person as soon as possible. Straight after this, just this, this sentence that I see tells me that he's not a good fit for the company. Not just my team or my project. He's just not a good fit for any company that is aiming at working in teams, at collaborating. So yeah, it's okay. What else? He doesn't believe in frequent meetings and wants business teams to simply write better requirements instead of involving IT in discussions. That's craziness. Okay, so write better requirements is something that is not possible, unfortunately. Basically, the ideal requirements can only be written if there is no uncertainty, right? But the project is all about uncertainty. And this specific project, as I see it now, is much more agile. Therefore, it's in some sort of probably not chaotic, but in complex environment. And in complex environment, you can't write defined, like 100% defined requirements set in stone. That's not possible. So this person doesn't know how the uh, agile approach works, and basically he doesn't know how requirements should be written, unfortunately, which is, yeah, I don't like this guy. His own team respects him but feels burnt out. Okay, so he writes perfect code. He's really good at that, and this is why he managed to survive, right? So he needs to be exceptional coder for someone to work with him, because if he would be poor coder, he wouldn't get even hired. So, okay. His refusal to compromise has led to multiple feature rewrites. Some engineers are disengaging. Okay. When asked about changing his communication style, he rolls his eyes and says, I don't have time to babysit people who don't understand technology. Okay, Mark's attitude is alienating business users, and causing internal friction within IT. Unfortunately, this is not salvageable. What I see here is not. I wouldn't even try to salvage that relationship. So if I would have this kind of person on my team, I would go with immediate actions to make sure that this person is removed from the team. Because basically, attitude, I don't think attitude can be changed. And I think it's in the core of his approach. So it's his character. It's his character rather than skills, you know? And yeah, I would not work with that, unfortunately. And of course, because I have limited power, most probably I can't just make sure that this person goes away and like, just disappears in the shadows. I need to go through the formal process. So I need to talk to my line manager. I need to talk with HR. I need to gather evidence of this attitude and how this attitude affects the team. And I need to go through the painful process to make sure that this person is either fired or at least this person moves to some other project where this person does not threaten me. Of course, fire this person is more preferable because I think that this kind of character would only thrive if he is working on the project where he is the only person working on the project and no one else is working with this person. He is working alone, and the requirements have to be 100% defined. Then maybe. But I haven't seen such projects. Maybe they are like so small that they don't need project managers. I don't know. So yeah, I think that this is unsalvageable, unfortunately. Okay, we'll deal with that. Projects expense review and procurement investigation. Oh yeah, that's interesting as well. Unplanned expenses breakdown. Contractor cost overrun. IT hired additional external consultants due to internal capacity issues. These contracts were never budgeted properly. So IT team hired themselves something, and okay, wow, that's like, is it the same guy who hired these consultants? I don't know. Let's see. Licensing cost. Some of the tools required for AI-driven underwriting cost significantly more than estimated. Delayed rollout penalties. The company signed agreements with some vendors that included penalties for project delays. These penalties are now stacking up. That's bad. That's bad. We need to deal with that. Procurement and vendor contract issues. Some vendor contracts were signed without detailed negotiation, leading to high fixed costs with low flexibility. Okay. The procurement team feels sidelined. IT business teams negotiated contracts without consulting them. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's just like a clear violation of company guidelines. I'm telling you that right now. I there is no such company where we have procurement department and where other departments just procure whatever they want and then they just tell procurement that this happened. Okay, legal review. Some contracts may allow renegotiation, but others have strict termination clauses that could trigger even more penalties. The financial bleeding is real. Poor vendor contract management and lack of budget oversight are pushing the project over budget. Okay, so this is the like two biggest concerns that I have right now is budget overruns, and the second is the disconnect between IT team that is doing the job and business that is not that they don't talk basically. Okay, major resistance to change. Scope changes are chaotic due to lack of governance and reactionary leadership. Mark Reynolds is a problem. Yeah. Your turn. What's your first action for month 2? Yeah, 6 action total, so choose wisely. Yeah, okay. So let's start from the beginning. Uh, Stakeholder readiness for change. Underwriters highly skeptical, brokers actively resisting, operations and claims mixed. IT team technically ready but frustrated. Okay, so I can't really change things before I deal with this Mark, this guy Mark, where he is. Where is he? Uh, Mark Reynolds. Okay, first things first is I would deal with Mark Reynolds. I want him out. I don't think this is salvageable. I would talk to him and explain the reason his attitude hinders project progress. Then I would gather evidence of of issues that arise from his attitude, and then I would perform action based on company guidelines to fire him, preferably within 1 to 2 months or as soon as possible. If he does any major mistake, I would definitely take the chance and fire him immediately. I would also speak to my manager um, and HR or other departments responsible for for company values basically, and ask for their support with the matter. Uh, um, I would also try to get him on board with the project and changes we have to make, but I don't believe that this is even possible, to be honest, at this point. So Mark Reynolds just goes, and also he alienated stakeholders. Um, I would also forbid him to talk to business stakeholders to avoid further alienation. So I will manage these. I will manage these communications myself at the beginning. And again, I understand perfectly well that this is kind of I'm becoming a breach between business stakeholders and the team, but I'm willing to do that at the beginning just to avoid further alienation and issues that are happening because of actions and like words that come from Mike Reynolds. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, readiness for change. Okay, I would, I would tackle this issue, of course. I would gather underwriters, key stakeholders, underwriters, brokers, operations, and claims, and key stakeholders from IT team to discuss new ways of working. So to tackle this issue, what I need is for them to go proper agile. And when I'm talking proper agile, I mean, first of all, we need proper product management. So we need ideally one person responsible of telling me how and when and why we are going to do this. Um, we're going to do this feature or the other. That's what I'm going to do first. Ideally, I need one product owner that is capable of managing all of that, underwriters, brokers, operations, and claims, and telling me that's what we need to do, that's what we don't need to do. This comes first, this comes second, this comes third. So I need one product owner uh, who understands all teams and is capable managing requirements for us, including priorities and uh, and making sure there is no scope creep. So this person should be available. Sorry, guys. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm here now. Should be available every day and work with tech team on daily basis. We will switch to Scrum. Uh, two uh, 2 week or 1 week sprints, and we will review teams' work every sprint and invite stakeholders from business teams to provide feedback. Adapt accordingly. So basically, what I want to change is the way we deliver. I don't want us to continue delivering in some sort of phases because it clearly doesn't work, and all business teams are unhappy now. We need to change that. We need to make sure that what we deliver is useful for teams. I want to change we work with requirements as well. We will switch to user stories. It's going to be a placeholder for discussion, and we will just use it to allow PO and IT team to agree on how each feature should work. Okay, this should be enough. This should be enough to tackle all these issues with requirements that are unclear with the scope. But again, if this guy, Mark, is it? Yeah, Mark? Yeah, Mark Reynolds. If this guy is still in place, then he will derail that and undermine my efforts for sure. So I need to make sure that we get rid of this guy as soon as possible. Okay, so stakeholder executive leadership impatient, they want results yesterday. I will also meet with execs and present the plan to turn things around. To make sure they are on board or at least not impatient. Okay, so we need to make sure that we manage expectations from executive leadership, of course. So yeah, we'll do that as well. IT team frustrated. Yeah, they will be because we don't talk to them much and they just do work and then everyone hates their work. And this is not their fault. It's just the way they deliver. We need to change that. And we're doing that already. So it should be fine. Let's see the next one. Scope change investigation governance model review. Yeah. So for scope changes, we need to check if the PO is capable of ensuring of fighting scope creep, let's say. If he needs some help, I will request a role of project sponsor, someone from senior execs. Ideally CFO. Like I would love to have CFO as project sponsor in this case because chief financial officer is capable of stopping finance from bleeding, because right now the budget is the main concern and CFO is the person who feels the most pain because we were bleeding money, basically. So ideally CFO. And this person is going to be responsible for protection from scope creep. Maybe we also need change control board, but I hope we don't, and PO together with project sponsor are capable of protecting the scope of this project. Okay, so we should be fine with that now. We should be fine. And yeah, possible solutions, I don't want to look at that. Meeting with Mark Lanus, we tackled that. Project expense review, procurement investigation. Okay, So contract cost overruns, it hired additional external consultants. Yeah, we need to make sure that we don't hire that without the authorization from project sponsor or PO, whoever is responsible for the budget. So this has to come through change control board. So maybe we need change control board. Licensing costs. Some of the tools required for IT Drive underway cost significantly more than estimated. So for that, we need to assess the impact of additional licensing costs and see how it affects budget. Maybe we need to issue a change request to get more budget, or we can use management reserve for that, if any. So, yeah, basically, what is happening here is something that was not planned at all. And I don't think we have any risks associated with that, but I didn't check that. I probably should have. But anyway, that's fine for now. Still, management reserve, let's say, or contingency reserve. Yeah, so maybe if we have risks associated with that, and maybe we have risk response plan that just entails us using more money from contingency reserve, that's fine with me. If we can't do that, then we need to assess whether we have some sort of management reserve we can use. If there is no management reserve, then change request to get more money, because if we spend more money just because the licensing cost more than we expected, we can't change that. So we just need more money for that. Delayed rollout penalties. Okay. So vendors signed agreements with some vendors that included penalties for project delays. So what are these delays? I don't understand, to be honest. If they are our clients and they expect us to deliver something and we delay, that's fine. But if they are vendors, I don't really understand what delays we're talking about, to be honest. But still, in terms of delayed rollout, we need to work closely with procurement and legal to minimize that. Maybe shift priorities in terms of scope and schedule to deliver features requested for these contracts first. Let's work with product owner on that. So basically, I don't really understand how these delayed rollout penalties work right now, because if, for example, we have a client and we need to manage claims for this client, and that's the project we're talking about, or maybe service we're talking about, and we have a contract with this client saying that we need to manage these claims within 3 months, and we can't do that because we did not roll out our system, and we can't use whatever we had before. Okay, then I understand what's happening, and then probably we need to make sure that we enable our teams, claims or brokers, whoever, to manage that, and then we're fine. Then let's just shift our priorities in terms of the backlog to roll these out first and enable these guys to do their job, and then yeah, then okay. The next thing we need to do is put some controls in place, preventing people from procuring stuff without involvement from procurement department. I would also ask someone from the procurement department to work with the team on a daily basis. So basically, I want someone from procurement to be attached to this project, be part of the project team. And then it allows us to work with procurement instantly. As soon as we need to buy something, this person is readily available. Some contracts may allow negotiations, but others have strict termination clauses that could trigger even more penalties. So then we need to work with legal team to renegotiate contracts where allowed and assess what's best to stick to other contracts or pay fees for termination and go through procurement again. Okay. So then I need to pull together proper budget for the rest of the project and build a healthy schedule for the rest of the project, although high level for now. Because we can't prepare a detailed schedule because we have all these problems. We need to solve these problems first. And then when we learn how to deliver, then we will be able to write more like reliable schedule. I think that's it for now. And that's fine. Let me add some sort of prompt that allows me to make sure that game stays in line. And let's go ahead and continue to the first advancement of time. It took me so long to do this, just the first advancement of time. I added too much action, to be honest. Okay, let's see. So CPI is 0.91, which is fine. I already like it. It's not that bad. I expected much worse. Schedule performance index SPI is 0.85, sorry. Slightly better, but behind schedule. Yeah, so moderate improvement in IT team, but business teams are still skeptical. So IT team morale improved, but business is still skeptical. Why is that? Stakeholder engagement improving due to structured communication, but resistance remains. Okay. Mark Reynolds situation. Okay, so how did we handle that? We had a direct conversation with Mark Reynolds explaining how this communication is impacting the project. Unsurprisingly, he was dismissive. He was restricted from direct business interactions. You took over stakeholder communications, and he felt relieved, but also uneasy about the situation. I get evidence of how his attitude was stalling progress, emails, meeting notes. HR and PMO backed your decision and are now in the process of managing his exit. Yay! However, Mark has started pushing back, informally influencing engineers to resist changes. Some engineers are loyal to him, so morale could take a hit if this isn't managed well. Okay, so now he's basically sabotaging the project. Okay, that's fine. That's all right. We can deal with that. Establishing Scrum and new ways of working. You brought the key stakeholders together, underwriters, brokers, IT operations claims. Big win. New product owner was appointed, an experienced underwriter who understands business and tech. PO started working daily with IT to define priorities and fight scope creep. Yay! You switched to 2-week sprints. 2 weeks is fine. Business teams were hesitant at first, but agreed to trial it. User stories replaced rigid requirements. This led to fewer misunderstandings. Now, challenges. What challenges? Okay. Business teams still struggle with agile mindset. Some execs still demand fixed timelines. Yeah, we can manage their expectations. That's fine. The new PO is doing well, but is overwhelmed. Needs backup. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Maybe we need someone like some sort of product manager or someone to help him. Stronger pushback on scope creep is needed. Project sponsor not yet appointed. So we still have issues with scope creep, and PO can't deal with them. Okay, that's fine. Scope governance. PO fighting but needs backup. You meet with executives to explain the new plan. There was skepticism, but they agreed to let it run for now. PO is pushing back on scope creep but struggles against senior leaders. Yeah, of course. No official project sponsor yet. Execs are still hesitant to assign one. CCB is not yet in place, but you may need it if scope flights persist. Executive support to make this stick. Yeah, executive support, as always. This is so crucial, guys. So crucial to have executive support. Budget and procurement overhaul. You work with finance and procurement to analyze the budget, found a 20% budget overrun risk due to licensing and contractor costs. Okay, 20% budget overrun. That's bad. Procurement now embedded in daily work to prevent further ad hoc purchases. Yay! Legal team reviewed contracts. Some can be renegotiated, but penalties for breach, major risk. Licensing costs are unavoidable. You're working on a change request for additional budget. If CFO does not approve the budget increase, you may need alternative cost-cutting strategies. I would want to avoid that if possible, of course. But if we have to, then that's fine. Scheduling and high-level plan adjustment. New high-level schedule was created based on agile milestones instead of rigid deadlines. Some feature priorities shifted to minimize rollout penalties. Project plan is now more realistic, but it feels still pressure to deliver fast. Okay, business leaders still push for fixed dates, could cause tension. Emergency incident. Well, come on. War room. Unexpected incident. Critical system downtime. During the middle of the sprint 2, the entire claims processing system crashed due to an API failure between the old and new platforms. Claims processing halted, brokers and underwriters panicked, and senior leadership is furious. Immediate impact. Hundreds of claims stuck in limbo. Brokers threatening to pull business, executives demanding answers now. You must gather a war room immediately. Who do you bring in? What's your action plan to resolve this crisis? Okay. So, yeah, first things first. Let's resolve the crisis first. So for this war room, I will set up emergency communication channel with business stakeholders, and I will notify them every hour on hourly basis of our progress. So I will explain to them what we're doing and how and why, and I will do it every hour. And will notify them every about progress. So basically what I need is to make sure that these stakeholders, they don't check whether this like claim software is up and running again every 5 minutes, and they don't ask and they don't talk about it to anyone except for me, but me. I need to make sure tech team is able to work and not getting harassed by business stakeholders. So that's first thing. I need all hands on deck from tech team to ensure we investigate this issue as soon as possible. So I need them to investigate what is the reason for this API failure. And if this is between old and new platforms, it might be because of the old platform, the new platform, whatever else. And I need to fix that first. So that's the first thing. Then I would help coordinate investigation, and hopefully we'll find the root cause soon. Then I will make sure we also implement ways to monitor and have early warnings. If this happens again, and we need some sort of prevention for this issue from happening again. So yeah, we can't do this now. And let's not forget the claims stuck in limbo. We need to process them manually, or we need to ask like DevOps, SRE team, whoever we have, to process them for us in some sort of structured way. So we need to make sure that everything that is stuck, that got stuck because of the incident, gets processed later. We can't allow them to just vanish. And I will take all responsibility for this incident. Then, after incident is resolved, I will have a post-mortem retrospective meeting with the team to discuss how we handled the issue. Key theme here is prompt is early communication with key stakeholders during the issue resolution. Yeah, again, when I'm writing and I'm playing and I'm hosting, it's a bit too much. But yeah, what can I do? Okay, so hopefully this help will be enough to deal with this war room incident, which is unfortunate, but still that's fine. So Mark Reynolds is still now sabotaging the project. I will continue. So with Mark, I will just continue to reinforce my position with more evidence and hope to salvage what's like, hope to maintain relationship with engineers who support him. I'll talk to them. I explain that Mark is on his way out. So if they want to stay on the project and work with us, they have to change their attitude because, yeah, because I would explain reasons why Mark is out, and yeah. I'll talk to them and ask for their support while Mark is on his way out, basically. So, but if they leave, they leave. What can I do with that? Hopefully they won't, and I will try to maintain a relationship with them. But again, if they love Mark and Mark is leaving and they want to leave just because they love Mark so much, then I don't think I can do anything with that, to be honest. But that's fine. Okay, so PO works fine, but but still, this is not enough. So we need more pushback on scope creep. I will request project sponsorship from senior execs again. Now I maybe ask my line manager to invite CEO to become project sponsor. So basically, right now we have an issue with sponsorship for the project. Senior leaders from the company harass my product owner and ask him to include requirements which lead to scope creep, which in turn leads to additional budget overruns. I can't allow that. So I need sponsorship. I need someone to help PO fight this scope creep. So I will just ask, yeah, let's say CEO to become project sponsor. Let's see how it goes. Budget and procurement overhaul. Okay, so if I don't get CFO or to sign off additional budget, we will have to look at potential strategies for the cost cutting. And again, when we are cutting cost, what can we do? Of course, we can try and do some sort of, let's say, fast tracking, right? And do some things in parallel and maybe spend less money on these licensing cost and claims and other stuff we have with vendors. But this would introduce additional risk, so I'm not the big fan of that. Maybe we can look at cutting scope or rather moving it to phase two of the project after phase one with just an essential scope for business teams. So basically, what we can try to do as well is to just move some stuff from phase one to phase two of the project if phase two is planned. Do we have phase two planned, by the way? I need to resolve that as well. And for the schedule, fixed dates, right? Business leaders still push for fixed dates. I need for the schedule to work with business leaders and explain that if they want to fix schedule, then then I need either additional budget or cut scope. And we need to work with them, basically. We need to work with them and find some sort of common ground. Because we can deliver on time, that's fine. But what scope is going to be there on time? That's the question. And it heavily depends on the budget that we have as well. Maybe we also have two opportunities to cut additional scope from the scope creep that basically creeped into our project to so basically I would work with product owner and I would ask him to review the whole backlog of work or whatever we have right now and check maybe we have something we can just remove because it was added while we did not have any change control process in place, and maybe it's not essential at all for the project. Maybe it doesn't support product strategy at all. So we can just cut it off. I would work with PO, ask him to review the backlog of work, check if we can just remove something that is not essential project and was added back when we didn't have change control process in place. This might help cut scope and get us into the back into business. So yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it for this time. And let's go for another round. Improving, but budget concerns remain. Okay, so end of the month 3, and yeah, it's slight improvement, but because of the war room, that's fine. Of course, that it would get derailed slightly, so that's fine. Stakeholder trust improved significantly due to transparent communication during crisis. Yay, the strategy worked. Morale, team morale is rising, but assumption still hesitant due to market situation. Okay, okay. War room crisis management, success. Yay, we managed to successfully resolve the crisis. Emergency communication channel worked brilliantly. Stakeholders appreciated our updates with reduced panic and distractions. Yay! IT was able to focus without harassment. They identified the root cause within 6 hours. That's reasonable. That's fine, actually. Issue a misconfiguration API update had caused claims transactions to fail during. Okay, so it's on our side. We rolled back the update, implemented hotfix, and automated API monitoring to detect issues earlier. Yeah, so basically, this ChatGPT is not it's not that great, to be honest, because what it means is either we are doing the rollback and then we are doing the whole thing, or we're implementing a hotfix, right? So we are either fixing forward or we're fixing backwards. And now he said that we did both, which is kind of funny. I would say that probably it was just a hotfix. They fixed forward, and that's fine. Automated API monitoring to detect these issues. So we had like API monitoring in place. Okay, that's fine. Maybe. Claims taken limbo. Dedicated task force manually processed affected claims within 48 hours. Yay! So we manually process them. That's fine. Was conducted to improve response strategies. Impact. Executives praised the crisis management process. Trust you as PM increased significantly. Okay, so we managed it really well. And because of that, we gained some trust. That's really helpful because when we have some sort of expert power, we can use it. Mark Reynolds, final countdowns. You continue to document evidence and reinforce your position. Mark, you more aggressive, actively trying to rally engineers against the new approach. However, not all engineers backed him. Several key members privately supported your efforts. Final straw. Mark publicly dismissed the broker's concern in an internal chat, triggering a complaint from the business side. Aha! So now not just me, also business escalated that. Mark is now on official termination notice and will be gone within the next few weeks. Yay! That's good. That's great. I would definitely make sure. So first things first, I would make sure Mark's access is revoked immediately, and he is he should only have read-only access to stuff, and his activities during these few weeks should be targeting knowledge transfer and support for the team. I don't want Mark to do any work himself. IT team split in the opinion, but with Mark leaving, you have a chance to reset the culture. Yeah, exactly. So we need that reset. We need that reset. But I need to make sure that Mark is not capable of just like doing some harm. Project sponsor, CEO steps in. That's amazing, guys. If you have CEO of the company as a sponsor, that's just great. Your request for project sponsorship was finally approved. The CEO personally stepped in as the project sponsor after seeing how the crisis was handled. Yay, this is a huge win. The CEO involvement means that scope and budget decisions will now have high level support. PO is relieved. They now have executive backing against uncontrolled scope creep. Political leverage is now in your favor. Stronger governance is possible. Nice. That's really good, guys. Really good. Budget strategy. CFO pushback and phase two discussion. CFO still reluctant to approve an increased budget, but is open to alternative solutions. You raised the idea of phase two, and leadership is now considering splitting the project into phases. If phase two is approved, you can strip non-essential scope from phase one to focus on core business needs. Okay. Would ease budget pressure, but final decision is pending. So they are considering it. Okay, let's give them some time. Schedule and scope management, first backlog review done. So PO reviewed the backlog and found several features that could be removed. Proposal submitted to execs. Keep full scope, need more budget, or reduce scope, deliver essential in phase one, move access to phase two. Businesses are considering the trade-off. If they accept scope reduction, the schedule will stabilize. Yeah, that would be massive. That would be massive. New challenge. Senior stakeholder makes an unreasonable request. Senior executive from the underwriting team has sent you a direct demand. We need to prioritize new feature that lets underwriters manually override risk calculations on the fly. I don't care what it takes, stop other work and make this happen immediately. This feature was never in scope. Will take 4+ weeks to implement and violates the automation goals of the project. What's your response? Do you comply, push back, escalate, or negotiate? So with this new challenge, we will first talk to this senior stakeholder and PO, just the three of us, and we will try to gather information. So basically, with a request like this, when they ask you to prioritize this feature, which was never in scope, first thing first, we need to realize what is this feature about. In some cases, this ask or request might not be well thought through. And if you ask questions, it just falls as house of cards, basically. So a stakeholder says, we need to manually override risk calculations on the fly. And you start asking questions. Okay, but we count these risk calculations in that formula. And what if this manual overridden risk calculation would not comply with that formula? What are we going to do then? So for example, maybe you gather all these risk calculations and aggregate it into one number, risk of the whole portfolio, for example. And if these guys would manually override it and would put anything they want and like there, then maybe the whole information or data that was sent to senior execs would just be incorrect. And what if someone puts the wrong number there manually? What controls are we going to have in place for this what numbers are even possible there? Why do they want it? Why do they need to manually override it? And other questions. And if you start doing that, so basically we would book over 60 minutes long meeting to ensure the request is valid. So first things first, we need to talk to this guy, right? Then when we gather this information, we will tell him that we will start the process immediately and we understand that he needs it. And then if the request is valid and PO confirms that, we will go to CEO with the change request and ask for his approval for this change. So if PO is okay with that, I'm fine with that. We can just change the scope of the project and maybe and all budget, schedule, and changes to other constraints as well. Yeah, so basically, if PO and the CEO, who's the project sponsor, if they are fine with that, that's fine with me as well. We can just go ahead with this change. If PO thinks that we should not do this actually, or CEO thinks that we don't have to do that, or we might do this later, then we can just go back to this senior stakeholder and say, unfortunately, CEO said no, and that's going to be fine. So I would use my change control process in this specific case. And that's it. For this turn. Okay, and let's go with one more round in this run of the game, and that's gonna be it for this episode. Oh, it's doing it with me. Okay, left to right, left to right. Okay, let's go with left. It's just like more pretty, I think. Oh, the right one is much faster than the left one. Okay, where do I select? I can't even select which one I prefer. That's fine. Okay, let's go with the left one because it's less to read. So CPI 0.96, which is fine. SPI 0.9, still behind but improving. That's good. Mark Reynolds fully removed. Yay! Okay. The impact. IT morale significantly improved. Business team feels more respected, leading to better collaboration. One risk remains. Some legacy code knowledge gaps still exist because Mark didn't document everything. Yeah, that's fine. We'll deal with that. Additional support to fix this later. That's fine. I'm willing to do that. It's still beneficial for the project, I think, so it's fine. Senior stakeholders request managed successfully. Held a meeting with the PO to validate the request. Findings. The request wasn't fully unreasonable. Underwriters did need some flexibility, but the proposed feature would break automation principles. Compromise reached. Instead of a full manual override, they designed a control exception handling mechanism that met both business and automation goals. CEO approved the modified request and signed off on necessary budget schedule. Okay, business team satisfied, IT not disrupted, and CEO is happy. Yay! We're doing something right. Okay. Budget and scope governance. CFO signs off. Thanks to CEO involvement, the CFO finally approved the revised budget to account for licensing cost. Phase 2 is now officially recognized, so we will have Phase 2, and scope adjustments were implemented, allowing for leaner Phase 1 and phase 2 roadmap that includes lower priority features. Schedule is more realistic, budget is now properly accounted for, scope risk reduced. Okay. Schedule and team performance gaining momentum. The PO cleaned up the backlog, removing the features that had been added without formal approval. Sprints are running smoothly and business teams are actively participating. Stakeholders' engagement increased, meaning less resistance to change. Nice. The team is finally operating at optimal pace. Business buy-in is stronger than ever. Looks good. Oh, new challenge, regulatory surprise. A major regulatory change has just been announced that will impact insurance underwriting in the UK. New law requires AI-driven risk assessment to provide full transparency on decisions made. This means the current AI-driven underwriting system will no longer be compliant unless modifications are made to provide explainability on decisions. And we have regulatory deadline 3 months from now. How do we respond to this urgent regulatory change? Okay, it's compliance, so we can't not we have to do it. We can't just like ignore it, right? So first, for the compliance, I would seek approval from project sponsor and PO to do that. We need to revise project management plan. And just work on new change request to account for it. If we have a compliance team, we also need to perform compliance audit to assess changes we need to make to ensure compliance with new regulation and accurately prepare backlog for this new change. Ideally, I would also work with regulator in UK and ask them to audit after we ready to ensure they also think we're compliant with this new regulation. Yeah, that's an unfortunate event, of course, but yeah, we can't avoid it. Also, maybe we can ask for an extension if 3 months is not enough for us to bring the project into compliance. I think that's it. I don't think we can do anything else. Of course, we might overhaul the whole project and change the scope at this point, but yeah, that's basically what we need to do. I think that's it. I don't think we need to change anything else. I think everyone is working as everything is working as it should. We just need to continue, and maybe we can just go ahead to the conclusion of the game, because I think that we actually solved all the issues right now, and we don't need to do anything else. I think we're fine. And okay, final project status overview. Almost back on track financially. SPI improved, but some delays still remain. Yeah, that's fine with all these issues. That's understandable. Crisis management, excellent. Both. Okay. Stakeholder engagement. Pushback on unreasonable demands. Yeah, that was fine. Removing. Okay. So toxic leadership from delaying the team. Switching to Agile Scrum, product owner setup was a game changer. Yes, I would agree. Budget scope, CFO pushback, phase one, phase two split. Compliance, risk awareness, yes. Areas for improvements. Okay, where can I improve? Early escalation of Mark's toxic leadership. While you did remove Mark successfully, his influence over engineers lingered for too long. I'm not sure if I could do this more aggressively. I just started removing him immediately, so I'm not sure if this is even possible. More proactive budget control. While you did stabilize costs, the budget issue was identified late. A stronger cost control mechanism from day one would have prevented. Yeah, I would agree. I didn't manage budget like in ideal way. Stronger pushback on scope creep earlier, while you managed to get a proper scope governance structure later in the project. Earlier resistance could have prevented wasted effort on non-essential features. I don't know, guys. I requested for PO and project sponsor immediately, so I'm not sure if I could do this even like to push this even harder. But yeah, overall, that's fine. I'm gonna take this one. 91. I think it's fine. Final remark. You walked into a project that was a complete disaster, and in 6 months you turned it into something functional, structured, and most importantly, respected by stakeholders. The way you handled the system failure and regularly was practically impressive. You also showed strong leadership in reshaping the project culture and ensuring IT and business teams actually work together instead of against each other. One lesson here is that earlier governance and cost control in place, the easier your life will be later. Overall, an outstanding job. If I had another failing project, it would be my first pick to fix it. Congratulations, you successfully turned the project around. Okay, I'm taking it, guys. I am definitely taking this one. Okay, that's it for today. And that was a new run of the game, a new version of the game as well. And if you like this podcast, please join me and play this game with me and choose your own domain, choose your own project to manage. And let's see if you can actually rescue the failing project as well. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much, and see you later.